Keep an eye to those coming from a little bit further back as well. Your top three from the earlier race: Nathan Williams, George Robinson, Adrian Rios Garcia, starting 15th, 14th, and 13th places respectively. And they are going to be hoping that it is possible to do lots of overtaking around here. Certainly there's the space to do it, but that slipstream not quite as strong maybe as we thought it might be. And so that means you've got to be brave under brakes. You've got to carry the momentum off the corners. That is the way perhaps to try and make some progress then in round number 6 of the official Ginetta Junior eSeries, which is about to burst into life here on the Silverstone National Circuit. The red lights go on. They go out now. And from the front of the grid, pretty even start from the front row drivers. Good start made as well there, further back by Hayden Gray. But who is going to get the advantage? Is it going to be Oliver Newton? Yes, it is going to be Oliver Newton who leads them through the first quarter. James Pepper there trying to come around the outside at Copse. And he's up into third place already, maybe about to go into second ahead of Finn Richardson. Let's see whether he can make that stick as they barrel down towards Beckett's for the first time. Oliver Newton then with the advantage, but what's going on for second place? James Pepper late on the brakes, round the outside, and he does manage to squeeze through into P2. Now, what about the championship rivals? Well, there you can see them in the background, either side of Louis Neal, I think they are, George Robinson and Nathan Williams. Someone on the grass there on the right-hand side exiting Beckett's. That might have been Kira Harris, maybe. I think she's a bit slow going on to the Wellington Straight. You're on board with Louis Neal. Now you're on board with Nathan Williams, though. That is George Robinson ahead. And we're going up the inside line already into Brooklands Corner. The two championship rivals side by side, yet again on the opening lap of the race. And Nathan knows the importance of getting ahead. He got into the lead on the first, or the second lap, actually, of race 1 and never looked back. But George Robinson knows how important it's going to be to keep that number 5 car behind him. They are still door to door as they slice and dice their way through the traffic. And these two with a quite clear pace advantage over the rest of the field right now. Out of Woodcote Corner, down towards Copse they go at the end of lap 1. James Pepper leads the way. Richardson second, Hayden Gray third. So Oliver Newton down to 4th already in the pink car. There goes Robinson up the inside of Luke Armstrong now, that was. Which means he's up into 8th position. Armstrong exits stage left, and Harley Connolly yet again on the second lap at Copse Corner. Exactly the same lap and exactly the same corner as race 1 where he had a spin, and it looks like he's had a similar incident in race number 2. So he once again is going to be on the comeback drive. Ride once more with Nathan Williams, who still hasn't found a way past Robinson. Yes, they're making good progress through the field, but Robinson doing a good job actually to keep him behind. Williams, though, gets a good run now in that slipstream down the Wellington Straight. Is he going to go to the outside? No, he sees a gap on the inside. Does he commit to the move? I think he's got to at this point. He's halfway alongside already. Gets to the inside line. Nice move if he can make it stick, and I think he will. Nathan Williams ahead of George Robinson. That's Kira Harris off, maybe related to the spin for Louis Neal that's happened at the same corner. But back to this absolutely fantastic battle going on between George Robinson and Nathan Williams. They are still side by side, and Nathan Williams still hasn't made this move stick, actually. Robinson coming back at him. William Antrobus we're riding on board with now. He's got a grandstand view, but he doesn't just want to be an interested bystander. He wants to get involved. Goes up the inside of both of them. There's a bit of a squeeze going on there. Oh, that was dodgy stuff indeed from Nathan Williams. He almost got himself turned around the nose of 2 cars, but he just managed to keep it clean, and he does now get the better of George Robinson. So Nathan Williams into 6th, now goes up the inside of Finn Richardson for 5th place. And that could be the decisive moment in the race then, but brilliant. They were side by side for basically the first 3 laps of racing. That was terrific stuff. Well, that's not so terrific. That's Luke Armstrong with a spin at Beckett's, and he will rejoin well, not quite the tail end of the field, but the tail end, I think, of the lead group. With Finn Richardson now, 8th position for him. He's slipping down the order slightly. William Antrobus just ahead of us. Ahead of him, the battle between the top 2 in the points. Nathan Williams, George Robinson. Pretty evenly matched in qualifying every week, but the last 2 weeks we've seen a definite speed advantage in race 1 anyway for Nathan Williams. But of course a week ago it was this reverse grid race where it all went wrong for the number 5 car. He needs to now try and put together 2 solid races to try and really go toe-to-toe with George in the championship race. James Pepper then leading the way. James Pepper has had 1 podium finish, a 2nd place finish earlier on this season, the Cool Camel car, with a good lead. Look at that, nearly 2 seconds ahead of Hayden Gray in 2nd place, Liam Bradley in 3rd, Henriksen Bell was 4th, it's now Nathan Williams apparently, because he's sweeping around the outside of Henriksen Bell at Beckett's corner. And does Albert leave him space on the exit? Yes, he will. Leaves him plenty of space, actually. Takes a very tight line. And I don't think that's really going to pay off for him. Now, George Robinson going with Nathan. Again, is he content to work with his title rival for now, or does he choose to try and make a move maybe himself on the run into Brooklyn's corner? He's close enough to think about it, and that's why Nathan Williams pulls to the inside to defend. Still got Henriksen Bell part of this as well. Robinson trying to go right round the outside. That might just work. You know, he's got the inside line for Luffield corner, and that was really brave stuff. And this might just pay off for him. He's got the inside through Luffield, leans slightly on Robinson, leans on him again. Robinson out into the gravel, and Henriksen Bell gets a run on the pair of them. That was the first real sign of fisticuffs between our two title rivals. And look, it's really delayed the race one winner now. Nathan Williams drops down another place behind William Antrobus. And he won't be particularly happy with that, but if you're going to try and hang it tough around the outside at someone at Luffield, then you kind of have to expect maybe the rough treatment on corner exit. Now Nathan's got to try and regroup again, then gets up alongside William Antrobus for 6th place. Ahead of him, look, you've got Albert Henriksen Bell trying to come back at George Robinson, actually, as they round Beckett's corner. So Williams back ahead of Antrobus, but for how long, I wonder, because Williams had a better run, I think, out of Beckett. No, decides better of that one. Pulls back into the slipstream. And will sit on the rear bumper of Nathan Williams for a little bit. Williams then jinks to the inside to cover into Brooklands. This is not going according to plan for the race one winner. Doesn't want to let there become too much separation between himself and George Robinson, who's now up into 4th place in the running order. Luffield then towards Woodcote corner. Nathan Williams with maybe an opportunity now just to catch his breath and regroup a little bit. We're about a third of the way through the race, still plenty of time to go here. Gets a nice run here on Albert Henriksen Bell, looks to the inside at Copse corner. Oh, visibly later on the brakes, look at that. But then, unlike some others who we've seen try to make those late braking manoeuvres, he makes the apex. He doesn't run wide on the exit of the corner, doesn't sacrifice his corner exit speed at all, and manages to make the move nice and cleanly. So he's up into the top 5 again. Robinson, though, is on the tail of Liam Bradley, and Hayden Gray has suddenly caught James Pepper for the race lead. So the top 2 absolutely nose to tail. In fact, they might be side by side almost by the time they get down to the end of the Wellington Straight. So this is all concertinaing together, isn't it? We've got James Pepper, the race leader, Hayden Gray putting the challenge on now. This gap was 2 seconds only a few laps ago. In fact, even a lap ago, it was over a second, so it's suddenly shot down. There must have been a mistake somewhere for Pepper, which allowed Hayden to close in. And Bradley 3rd. Robinson here on board with him 4th place. Now he wants to try and get a move on here before Nathan Williams catches him. Nathan's about a second behind. You can see him in the wing mirrors there, so George Robinson doesn't really want to waste any time here if he can help it. Wants to try and clear Bradley quickly, but wants to do it without losing too much momentum. So attacking at Copse isn't a great idea, although it does force a mistake out of Liam Bradley, who runs way wide and makes it as easy as it can be, really, for George Robinson. And through he goes up into 3rd place. But Williams has gained some out of all of that, gained the 10th or so through Copse. He now needs to try and get past Liam Bradley, which he does at the very next corner. So that was a definite gain for Williams. It didn't take him as long to get past Liam Bradley as it did George Robinson. As a result, the gap comes down by a 10th or so. Further back, there's Kira Harris slipping up the inside of Louis Neal. It's 11th place now for 2 drivers who both really should have been at the pointy end in this race, but that's the way the reverse grid races can go sometimes. Back at the front of the field, Hayden Gray here, continuing to apply the pressure to James Pepper, but that pressure that he is applying to the race leader, he's very shortly going to be experiencing himself, I think, because George Robinson is a-coming. He's almost with the top 2. 7 tenths, 8 tenths or so behind as they come out of Woodcote corner. Move closer and closer now towards half race distance. Defensive line taken by Pepper across the line. He doesn't really need to be doing that, though, because Robinson isn't close enough. In fairness, he drifts back over to the racing line again before they turn in. George Robinson, with the fastest lap as well now, has started to close in visibly on these 2. Bonus point, remember, for setting the fastest lap as well, but it's the race win points that Hayden Gray is thinking about right now as he tries to get up the inside of James Pepper. But look, that failed overtaking attempt has just lost them both momentum. It's allowed George Robinson to close in, and George is going to really want to get these moves made as quickly as possible. Pulls to the outside of Hayden now, down towards Brooklands corner. Hayden sort of boxed in behind James Pepper. He gets sideways. That was a very dicey moment for Robinson, with the car on the inside getting very out of shape. Could easily have sideswiped the championship frontrunner. Thankfully, they kept it clean. All of a sudden, Nathan Williams is part of this battle as well. So they've both driven brilliantly to come through the field whilst also battling with each other. It's been probably the best race of the season, this, for that reason. These two are definitely the storyline, aren't they, this year? But in these reversed grid races, even in this one, nothing separating them at all. As we do now get George Robinson to the lead. And where did Pepper go? He was way wide out of Cop's corner. Well, Hayden Gray actually coming back at Nathan Williams now. Looks, this is all going to get very busy because they both got a run on James Pepper. Robinson then to the lead. Who is going to come out of this with second place? It could well be Nathan Williams. He's got the inside line. Hayden Gray has a big moment going into the corner. Pepper goes through. On the inside as well goes William Antrobus. And, well, just like that, they're all together. Look, we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 of them, I think. 8 of them, in fact, together. This gap now, the battle goes all the way back to Dalton Hayward in 8th place. Hearing there was a bit of contact there, maybe, that sent Hayden Gray out wide at Beckett. So he's not going to be best pleased with that, but we once again have our 2 championship protagonists filling up the top 2 places on the road, and this, the battle going on behind them for 3rd. William Antrobus wants to go with them here, doesn't he? William was 4th in the points coming into tonight, so he's not out of this championship picture, but he needs to start beating Robinson and Williams as soon as he possibly can. Out of Woodcote, down into Cop's corner. And Antrobus slides on by. Oh, and almost gets served from behind by James Pepper, who runs wide. That backs him up into Hayden Gray. And Liam Bradley and Albert Henriksen-Bell and Dalton Hayward. Adrian Reyes-Garcia having a quieter race, isn't he? In 9th place. He's about 5 seconds behind this group, but the more they fight, the closer he might start to get. Around the outside goes Pepper. Gray on the inside. Oh, and Pepper bouncing over the grass there as he exits Beckett's, heads out onto the Wellington Straight. And into the braking zone, where Liam Bradley now jinks to the inside at the last second. There's more to defend from Henriksen, I think, than it was to attack Pepper ahead of him. Right on board with now, and Pepper getting sideways. I don't think there was contact that time. That was just a bit too much right foot as he came out of Luffield corner. So Liam Bradley gets the run, carries the momentum round the outside line, on board without Albert Henriksen-Bell. Ahead of the field, Nathan Williams has caught George Robinson as well, so that's worth keeping an eye on. Those two are absolutely together, in fact, as they head down towards Beckett's corner. Nathan might be shaping up for a move. Here he comes, look, he's pulling to the outside line, side by side for the race lead then. And George Robinson is going to have some defending to do now. Dead level, onto the brakes, into Beckett. Still a third of the race to go. And George Robinson is really coming under fire now. Nathan Williams sees a chance to try and get the double race victory here tonight. Maybe not the cleanest of gear changes there as he came out of Beckett's corner. Now he pulls out of the slipstream, carries that extra momentum that the slipstream gives him to the outside line. Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? Does he want to try and risk going right around the outside? No, chooses to cut back to the late apex. Sensible stuff, really. Seen already that Robinson's not afraid to get the elbows out when he's battling with Nathan Williams. Both of them know the significance of this battle. They keep on trading race victories the way they have thus far this season. Then any opportunity you get to beat your opponent is going to be crucial. Get 35 points for winning a race, 30 for finishing in second place. So this battle for the win is a battle for an extra 5 championship points in a championship race that was only separated by 2 points coming into tonight. So it's really important for both drivers, this. Now the cops, they go down towards Beckett. William Antrobus flashing the lights at them as well as he tries to join in the fun. Great view now as Nathan Williams switches and swipes from side to side and then jinks to the inside at Beckett's corner. Takes the lead away, or does he? Nathan Williams comes back, George Robinson comes back at him round the outside line, and Antrobus is suddenly right there with them. So William Antrobus could make this a 3-way fight. He has made it a 3-way fight realistically, and he now pulls to the outside down towards the end of the Wellington Straight they go, in front of the BRDC grandstand, and into Brooklands corner. Up the inside goes Nathan Williams. That's going to be contact. Surely it is contact. They're both sideways. Through will go William Antrobus, and around goes George Robinson. He's collected by Liam Bradley, and that was fairly inevitable, really. The way in which they were racing each other, that was a very small gap. It was a very difficult move to pull off, and well, that will be discussed afterwards, I'm absolutely sure. William Antrobus then picks up the race lead. Williams second. Hayden Gray goes to third. And where did Robinson end up? He's down in 9th place. And, well, a week ago, it was Nathan Williams who had the disastrous second race of the night. And this week, it may well be George Robinson, but at the hands of his championship rival. Well, that could be a big, big talking point. It's been all very cordial so far this season, but in a title race as tight as this one, it was always likely to boil over at some point. Of course, this race isn't over yet. We've still got 5 minutes to go. And now William Antrobus has a real chance at claiming a first victory of the season. He's 1.4 seconds clear of Williams. Oh, that's James Pepper off the road. That, I think, is on the entry to... No, it's the exit of Cops, isn't it? So has he crashed or pulled over? I'm not entirely sure. He's not going anywhere, is he? Though that almost suggests it's something like a hardware failure for... James Pepper. Anyway, his race seems to be done with only Oliver Newton, the pole man, still sat behind him. So, 4.5 minutes to go. There is George Robinson. He's just slipped past Louis Neal. So Robinson up to 8th place, but he's 7 seconds now behind the next group of cars. I don't think he's going to catch them in 4.25 minutes. So it's not looking like he's going to score particularly well out of this race. Williams at the moment second, scoring 30 points, while Robinson for 8th place would score only 14. So that's where you can suddenly start to see the big difference in points, a big point swing perhaps one way or the other. Louis Neal trying to come back at Robinson now, actually, around the outside at Cops, past the stricken car of James Pepper. Quite clearly isn't going anywhere right now. We got back to Hayden Gray, sat in 4th position. Albert Henriksen ahead in 3rd, but that lead gap coming down again now, 9/10 of a second only between Antrobus and Williams. Very interesting to get Nathan's thoughts on that after the race, assuming he makes it onto the podium, of course, which he should do, barring any more incidents. Luffield corner there. This is a good battle going on. Dalton Hayward up alongside Adrian Rios Garcia. Now, we haven't seen a lot of Adrian actually in either race so far tonight, but he's knocking on the door of a top 5 again here. Bradley is his next target, then Hayden Gray. And then actually the podium not that far away, because Albert Henriksen Bell is in 3rd place right now, only a second ahead of this group. 3 minutes to go though, so running out of time. Around the outside here of George Robinson goes Harley Connolly, so Louis Neal's got back ahead of Robinson, and so too now has Harley Connolly. You have to imagine that Robinson's got some damage, because the initial contact wasn't too bad, but he was then subsequently collected by someone. And yeah, you can see, look, he's having to steer left down the straights because the steering's out or the tracking's out, so he has got quite big damage, and that's going to massively hinder now his chances of improving position. 10th place then is where he runs right now. That would score him just the 11 championship points. Of course, this all remains a bit provisional after that contact, not apportioning any blame, but as soon as there is contact like that, you can be sure it will be looked at after the race, as Adrian Rios Garcia maybe made a bit of contact there with Hayden Gray. Slips out wide and allows Dalton Hayward up the inside briefly, but that becomes the outside again then at Luffield corner. Hayden Gray is going to stand his ground and stay in front now. 2 laps to go, and the leaders are nose to tail again. Here they are. Now, William Antrobus is not going to let Nathan Williams through without a fight. That is for sure. There's a first victory of the season on the line here for William, and he is going to make that Ginetta G40 the widest Ginetta at Silverstone, but it's not quite wide enough. Nathan Williams got the much better exit from Cops, draws alongside, and he's going to have that inside line down towards Beckett's corner. Can William Antrobus outbreak him around the outside line? If he can hang around the outside, he should have better momentum down the back straight, but no, through goes Williams, and for the second time tonight he leads the way. But for how much longer? Antrobus with a better exit pulls back level again, and it's now a drag race down the Wellington Straight. Antrobus came off the corner more quickly, but he's on the outside line for Brooklands, and that's not usually the place to be. We're going to have one more lap to go at the end of this one. On the inside line is Nathan Williams. I think he should be able to slide back through. Yes, he does. So Williams back to the front. And William Antrobus will have one more lap to try and do something about him. Now, if he can get that slipstream, try and carry some speed down the pit straight, he might be able to put the pressure on into Copse Corner, but it's a good exit there from Williams out of the final turn. Well, this is the final turn technically at Woodcote, but it's easy flat out in these Ginetta Junior cars. So we're right on board with the second placed of those. William Antrobus trying his best now to close in on Nathan Williams. Through Copse Corner, Williams really slides the car. Beautiful four-wheel drift through there. Didn't lose any speed as a result of that. Carries that speed all the way down then into the braking zone at Beckett's. And now I think he probably is more or less out of reach. So a bruising race at times this, a controversial one perhaps. So we'll have to wait and see what the race director makes of that contact that was made between Nathan Williams and George Robinson. I'm sure both drivers will have their own opinions. We might even be able to get Nathan Williams to share his opinions with us after this race, because it does look as though he's destined for his second victory of the night, what will be his fourth victory of the season, and he will now start to distance himself a little bit more in the championship as well. Through Brooklands into the right-hander at Luffield they go, and William Antrobus put up a good fight. He looked in really to the race lead there for a brief moment. In the end, wasn't able to keep Nathan Williams behind. It's going to be a double race victory here at Silverstone. First driver to achieve that so far this season, and it is the championship leader, Nathan Williams, who wins both races here at the home of British Motor Racing. William Antrobus comes home in second place, Albert Henriksen Bell third, and Adrian Rios Garcia nearly made the podium again. He surely has to be a candidate for driver of the round, I would say, Adrian. Third place in race one, a fourth in race two, and I really didn't see him getting involved in too much of the pushing and shoving either. Hayden Gray comes home in fifth, Liam Bradley sixth, Dalton Hayward seventh, Louis Neal eighth, Harley Connolly ninth, and George Robinson a disappointed 10th place finish in the end for the driver who, for much of that race, actually looked as though he could be on course for a race victory, but that little bit of contact that he had with Nathan Williams sent him around. The subsequent contact was the one that really damaged the car, and well, that was unfortunately the end of his chances of scoring well. 10th place, the best that he can do, and well, that will be a talking point, I'm sure, when we get out of the race. And in fact, we already can start our post-race discussions, because we've got our podium finishers now in the commentary box. And for the second time tonight, it's Nathan Williams who's the first car across the start-finish line. I've got to ask you, though, Nathan, about that little collision that you had with George. We saw it from the external view. I'm sure you had a very different view of it from inside the car. What was your take on that?
Obviously, it's very sad to see a battle end like that, but from my point of view, I was alongside, I was just squeezed a bit too much. I just ended up having to put a wheel on the grass to avoid contact, and that just led to me understeering a bit.
Ah, okay, so I hadn't seen that from the external view then. There was a wheel on the grass going in. It is a shame, because that was a terrific battle, and I really enjoyed watching you two coming through the field together, but also trading positions a number of times, and that does require a lot of respect, really, to be shown between the two of you to be able to do that cleanly.
Yeah, I think there's a couple moments of contact, but apart from that, it was a quite good battle, and I think we both managed to work together to get through the field quite well, and obviously we both wanted to advance our positions as much as possible.
Which you ultimately were successful in doing. You got to the lead, obviously dropped back again after that contact, and then William put up a good fight as well, didn't he?
Yeah, it's a very good fight from him. I was quite surprised, and yeah, he's done quite well second there.
Yeah, second place for him, but a double race victory for you, the first driver to achieve that so far this season. Do you feel like this is now giving you a bit more momentum in the championship race? Are you feeling a bit of extra spring in your step now heading into the next week?
Yeah, it's the first race about the first weekend where I've had no contact, and obviously it's been, well, no contact that's caused me to spin out, and obviously it's going quite well, so I hope I can continue this onto the next round, and hopefully the round after that.
Well, we wish you the best of luck with that, Nathan, but huge congratulations. Really well driven tonight, and 2 race victories here at Silverstone. Well done.
Thank you.
So Nathan Williams, the race winner, but as we just heard from him, he enjoyed the battle that he had with William Antrobus for the race lead there. And William, if that race had been a lap or so shorter, you might just have been able to claim a first victory of the season. That was as close as it gets.
Yeah, I really think it was really close between me and Nathan, but I think my tyres went off at the end and I was like struggling to keep up with him, but I would take a second on the chin and it's good championship points, but I would have loved the first just couldn't keep up with him, in my opinion.
You mentioned the tyres were going away. You don't necessarily think about tyre management much in Ginetta Junior Racing. Where exactly was that hurting you? Was it on corner exit, corner entry? How were you feeling the tyres going away?
I think it was just when I was sliding, I thought, oh, I think we're going to be losing some time here. And I think that was later on in the race. And I was like, okay, just chill out. And then everything was settled. And then I tried to have a battle with Liam, and we had a great little battle, but Liam got ahead and drove off. But yeah.
It's great to have you on the podium there. Your second place finish of the season so far. So that win, it feels like the win is coming, but it's not easy to win races in this championship, is it? Especially when you're up against people like Nathan.
Yeah, it's really tough. Like, you got people like George and Nathan. I'm not the fastest of people, but I know what I'm doing in, like, say, reverse races when I start in like mid-pack, and then I know how to get to the front, and it's like a matter of if the leaders are going to crash, because I saw Nathan and George were battling, so I was like, I'll wait here for a minute and see what happens, and then when the crash happened, I took advantage of it and took the lead. So yeah.
Worked out nicely for you, and a solid second place finish. Hopefully not the last time we'll see you on the podium this season. William, congratulations.
Thank you.
So William Antrobus, second place for the second time this season, but it is a third place finish, and I think I'm right in saying a first podium of the season for Albert Henriksen Bell. Albert, well done on that podium finish, and you sort of crept your way into the podium places in that race. You were having a solid race, and then sometimes you just need a bit of good luck, don't you, to get you that extra step forward.
Yes, quite. Well, I was really enjoying watching the battle between William and Nathan. Looked like absolutely incredible driving, but yeah, solid result.
Solid. I mean, I'm sure this is hopefully the start of bigger things as the season goes on. A race win would be nice to have in the near future, but how satisfied are you with the way that your season's been going so far?
First race could have gone better, but second race was okay. This race, though, has just shown I have something to hope for the next few.
Of course, heading to some very different racetracks now, though, through the rest of the season. Silverstone National, perhaps one of the simpler tracks to learn. How familiar are you with some of the tracks that we're going to be racing at in the coming weeks?
Well, Snetterton have only done one race round there before with the league I used to be part of, so I'm going to have to get quite a lot of practice in there.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy circuit, so we will let you get on with that, Albert, but big congratulations. Great to have a new name on the podium, and I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again soon.
Thank you very much.
So Albert Henriksen Bell rounds out the podium places. Now, one driver who just missed out on the podium in that race was Adrian Reyes-Garcia. He has, though, it has been decided, he's been named as the recipient of the Driver of the Round award for this week. So congratulations to Adrian for claiming Driver of the Round for two really solid, and from what we could see anyway, really clean races as